Let's start with the IT security audit case study analysis for the Seng Health audit boardroom briefing. So first of all, good morning, everyone. I am Seng. So I'll be the Chief Information Security Officer at Seng Health today. Right. So according to our assignment over here, a very quick introduction. This case we'll be presenting today is going to be a retrospective internal audit of the 2018 Seng Health data breach. Right. So this was one of the most serious case cybersecurity incident on Singapore, which compromised over 1.5 million patients' personal data. Right. So this audit was triggered by a pattern of repeated firewall alerts. There were multiple phishing activities at that time, and these were failed. And my team failed to raise the appropriate response to these patterns. Right. So ultimately, we allowed these threats to infiltrate our systems, and they were undetected for days. Right. So our objective is to simulate an internal audit response. Right. So not just to assess what went wrong, but to also identify the vulnerabilities, to evaluate the risk, and also to propose sustainable improvements moving forward. Right. So assisting in this simulation would be the two auditors from the UTM Security Audit Group 6. Right. So we have Yue Hin and we have Harshini. Right. So they will walk us through the technical findings and recommendations of their cybersecurity audit. Right. So I'll be contributing from a CISO point of view to provide context, challenges, and the overall Seng Health response, since the breach. Right. So, all right, let's.
Okay. Hi, Seng and Harshini. Yes. I will present for these tools and framework sources. Our audit was guided by internationally recognized framework to ensure a structured and comprehensive evaluation. We refer to the ISO IEC 27001 for the control-based auditing, mapping our findings against established security domains. The NIST cybersecurity frameworks provided a risk-centric lens to assess how Seng Health identify, protects, detect, and recover from the cybersecurity threats. Additionally, we also apply CIS controls version X as the baseline, especially useful for benchmarking, endpoint hardening, and policy enforcement.
So next, I will discuss about the tools and what was our audit scope. So I'm Harshini, and the tool that we have used is MECR. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrongly. It's a network-wide vulnerability scanning, which is used to uncovering several unpatched systems. So MBSA helped us audit misconfigurations on Windows hosts. Beyond automated scans, we also manually reviewed firewall policies and login audit logs to detect anomalies and configuration drift that could enable lateral movements. And we had done 4 audit scope, and which are covered is identity and access controls, network parameter security, visibility of security events, and employee behavior and responses readiness. So next, I'll pass to our CISO.
All right. Thank you, Yue Hin and Harshini. Right. So I guess from Seng Health's perspective, I do appreciate the structure approach using multiple frameworks. Right. So you guys use a lot of different frameworks to come and audit this. Right. And this is how it should be layered. Right. So I guess I would say your findings should reaffirm the need for greater integration across technical controls and overall our Seng Health's staff processes and how we work. Right. So I guess moving forward, our focus should be to try and embed these frameworks not just in compliance checklists, but also in our day-to-day operations. Right. So of course, I appreciate your efforts in providing these resources, and I hope that not just us, but also everyone, right, in terms of our employees, our stakeholders, we will work together and cooperate to provide any sources or any documentations and any reference that is needed from within the company. Right.
Sorry. For the security issues, we identify 5 core security issues that collectively enable the breach to occur and escalate the issues. First, there was a lack of staff training and incident response readiness. Employee failed to respond and escalate the suspicious activity, which allowed the attackers to operate undetected for several days. Secondly, the organization was running the outdated antivirus tool and unpatched system. This has made the exploitations significantly easy, and in some cases, the system has not been updated for over a year.
Also, we found that escalation procedures and standard operating protocols were either unclear or not followed. So the staffs hesitated and were confused about how to report the incidents. And on the governance side, there was no clear accountability. System ownership and security responsibility were poorly defined, which has also created delays in action. And lastly, the lack of proper network segmentation, which means that once the attacker has breached one system, they could move behind the system, behind the network, legacy system in particular were left exposed. Each of these issues played a part in extending the attacker's reach and increasing the damage done for the system.
I see, right. So I guess from Singhao's side, I fully acknowledge the seriousness of these failures, right? So I think at that time our focus was very operationally heavy, right? So we didn't bother to take a look at the risk of our old systems and all these things that escalated very quickly, right? So I guess with limited constraints, like we have limited employees, we have limited budget, we were too focused on other things. But of course, the breach made it clear that strong technical controls, like you guys mentioned, without proper training, without proper people to enforce these procedures, they are actually meaningless, right? So I guess I would say since the breach, we have restructured governance roles. We have tried to clarify more accountability on, especially the cybersecurity side, and made training a mandatory within all the employees. So I would say all these 5 issues that you guys just highlighted are not just technical flaws, but it reflects deeper into the culture and structural gaps that we have begun to address.
Okay. For the risk assessment metrics, we conduct our risk assessment using the needs special publication 800-30 revisions 1 framework, where the risk is evaluated as the likelihood multiplied by the impact. Amongst the 5 issues, the most severe was the clearly inadequate staff training and incident response, which we read as the high likelihood and high impact, giving it a risk score of 9. It's a critical risk. Why this risk is high likelihood? Because this was not an isolated cases. From the inquiry, we noted that at least 3 separated incidents in the 6 months before the breach, where the staff encountered the suspicious activity but failed to escalate it. In one case, the firewall alerts on a front-end workstation was dismissed as a routine scan, and there was no one to follow up this firewall alert. Why this risk is considered also as a high impact? Because the human gap enable attackers to remain undetected for 8 full days, and which impacted over 1.5 million personal records and informations, including targeted data of the high-profile individuals.
Moreover, we also cross-checked referenced internal training logs and found less than 40% of the frontline IT staff had completed any form of cyber incident response training prior to the breach. What's worse, the SOPs were either buried in SharePoint folders or not role specific. In one interview, a junior admin said, as I quote, I thought the security team would catch it eventually. This kind of mindset reflects a deeper organization flaws. One where staff don't see themselves as a part of the security purpose or process. That's why we ranked this issue as the top risk and the first priority in our recommendation.
All right, I'd say your critical ratings are, I mean, the truth hurts, but I guess before the breach, like what you guys mentioned, we all thought cybersecurity was seen as an IT's job, right? Not everyone's job. So I guess that's something we have to unlearn and rebuild from scratch. So since then, we have implemented mandatory cyber awareness programs for all staff. Doesn't matter whether they are technical or not. So we try our best to conduct quarterly phishing simulations and annual red teaming exercises using the IT enterprise and also a cybersecurity team. And if someone fails to respond properly, we will take it as a learning opportunity. So we have revamped the way SOPs are delivered. We are working together with the Seng Academy to try and turn them into interactive playbooks with step-by-step instructions based on actual attack scenarios. So we would say that we can have the best tools and policies, but if no one were to act, our defenses mean nothing. So that's why I would say training isn't just a checkbox that we just tick and forget about, but rather we would try to embed it into our performance culture. Right. What about the other risk?
Let's us run through the other risk rating quickly. First, as already discussed, the inadequate staff training was rated as critical, which is a high likelihood and impact. It directly allowed the breach to escalate and undetected. Second is the outdated antivirus and unpatched systems, which is scored high frequency in legacy environments and left the doors for the cyber attacks to have the opportunity to attack. Yeah.
The third one is weak escalation procedures came in at the medium. It's not as frequent, but still cause delays during the breach response. Fourth will be poor governance, which is also a medium risk. This is less immediate, but it contributes to confusion and lack of ownership.
Okay, all right. So I can see from the slide that lack of segmentation was placed medium for both likelihood and impact, and risk rating was also medium, right? So I would say combine all these 5 issues, right, and maybe even more, they created a perfect storm that ultimately led to our Seng data breach. But like I said, staff readiness was the biggest gap, right? So everyone was not ready, everyone was complacent. So I would say that would be our top priority moving forward.
Okay. Let's start to identify the root cause for the issue. The most critical was the inadequate staff training. We trace back this to a lack of the structure cybersecurity awareness initiative. The staff simply did not know what to look at and how to escalate the issues when the cybersecurity threats was happened. Secondly, is the outdated antivirus and patching practice allow the vulnerabilities to persist. This cost here was not just technical, it's also operations as the legacy system were excluded from the routine patch cycle. Third, we also saw the confusion around the escalation. The SOP was either missing unclear and not communicated within the teams. This reveal a governance gap, not just documentation issues.
Yeah, I guess I do agree with these three root cause. I would say on the training front, that's true. There was no cybersecurity education at that time. For second patching, yeah, I would say because in hospital operation, a lot of our operations, a lot of our systems are run on legacy applications. So we didn't want any downtime, right? So at that time we would not bother to go and change it, right? But of course, after what happened, I guess we are trying to revise our policy now. And regarding escalation, as mentioned earlier, there were policies, but they were just locked in PDF files, and no one bothered to read them. So, as discussed, moving on, we are trying to make this more interactive, more interesting, to let everyone uh, to let everyone learn and learn from our mistakes and improve moving forward.
Moving on to the two final issues, both are structural. Poor governance meant Poor governance meant that no one was clearly accountable for security oversight. Responsibilities were fragmented, which allowed risk to go unmanaged. The last issue is technical but strategic. Singtel's network lacked segmentation. Once attacker got into the system, they had free access to across the system, which including older and more vulnerable machines. So this root causes underline the need structural reforms, not just quick fixes.
Right. I agree with that. So I would say governance and segmentations they were there, but they were more, how do I say, they were more on they were more on the blind spots where everyone would rather just close one eye and not take a look at them. Right. So I'd say moving forward, we are trying to segmentate more accountability between all our employees, and that was segmentation. I would trust my cybersecurity team to take this as a lesson and try to rebuild the system and try to reinforce the architecture more. Right. So among all this, what would be your recommendations?
For short-term actions, our top priority is mandatory staff training. This can be rolled out within a few weeks and already shows improvement in awareness. We also recommend immediate patching of critical system and updating the antivirus tools that is in the system. So it will finally run short response drills to refresh staffs on how to escalate the threats when the attack happens. We have to let the staffs know on how to escalate the process and things.
Okay. For the long term, we focus on the structure, where we need the clear governance. Every system must has their own owner. We also recommend a redesign of the networks to ensure segmentation carry and especially around the legacy and sensitivity system. Also, we also emphasize on the training, which continuous training and should not be stopped after the employee onboarding. And we make it as a part of the performance reviews and annual KPIs.
All right, I agree. Right, I would, um. So a lot of what you have guys have just said, there are very good recommendations, and ever since the breach, I'd say my company have started on many of this, right? So we have worked together with the HR team, with cybersecurity team, and also make sure everyone knows what they are doing now. So these recommendations should well align with our future roadmap, but the value here would be, of course, to try and prioritize what we should, and this audit also help focus our energy where it matters most.
Okay. From the audit side, we will follow up in the 6 months to assess the implementations of the training program, patching disciplines, and also governance clarities.
We are expecting measurable progress, not just documentation, but active adoption of controls. These actions should reduce critical risk significantly.
Right. So as CISO, I would say my immediate priority would be to close these gaps, right? All the gaps that we have just discussed about. So 6 months for these focus areas, I would say if they're not implemented based on what you're sharing now, I would expect full training completion, hardened systems, and also clear accountability lines within the hierarchy. Right? So to us, the public, our shareholders, and also, of course, our patients, right? Those who come into Seng Health hospitals, this isn't just about avoiding another breach. It's about building a sustainable security culture across Seng Health. Right? So one that the public can trust, right? Internal and external. Right. So, all right, thank you very much. Right. So this concludes our internal audit briefing of the 2018 Seng Health data breach. And I'd like to thank both our auditors, Yue Hin and Harshini, for their thorough analysis and recommendations. So again, as Seng Health CISO, I would like to commit to driving these improvements forward to recover from our past and also to strengthen our future. Thank you very much. Okay, so that concludes our assignment, right? So let's just learn, of course, being a security audit assignment, this, I guess, we learn how real world breaches are analyzed. We understand how audits work technically and also operationally. It helps us work as a team to think and to simulate how professionals actually conduct these security reviews and how they actually come together and discuss on this topic, right? And we have learned that every detail matters, right? Doesn't matter whether they're big, but doesn't matter whether they are small, right? And it's the experience that made that real, right? So thank you once again, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you.